Yo, welcome back to the podcast. So we got a new segment today. We call this maybe we'll change the name in the future, but TGJ Spotlight Podcast. And that, as you can see, Aman Grewal, he's underneath the spotlight right now.
Let's go.
Right?
Literally,
Literally, yeah.
literally.
But basically, the purpose behind this one is more just like people who have been getting jacked for a minute, involved in the community a minute, and been doing their thing before even trying to get jacked a long time, have a different perspective on just training, nutrition in general. And like, it's possible that you don't have to revolve your whole life around it and still get fairly jacked like Amin is, right? I'll give a quick intro for Amin himself, and then he can obviously give a little intro. But Amin, he has a soccer background. He's been training for a minute. I think he's been in the game for 10 years, more like athletic before, and then bodybuilding, lifting. And he's already fairly jacked even when he came into trying to get jacked. And then since last year, did a nice little cut, and now we've been growing a lot of size. The biggest thing with Amin, I find, is like no matter what things happen, we're gonna dive into today, he's just mad consistent in like the long run, right? Which is I think one of the biggest traits of like anybody getting jacked long term is just like long term just staying consistent, even when like things are not flowing, right? Because like we almost like I think most of us we look for excuses in our mind. Our mind is literally waiting till like something happens in life to be like, oh yo, you know what? I'm not gonna stick to my diet or training this week or this month or this year. And we use that as like a justification, and our mind is waiting for that. But like, yo, Alman's been really consistent and he's been cool, in the community. He's always dropping knowledge. So now he'll drop knowledge to the a wider audience, you know?
You see, like his like accent, it has to come out.
A
It
wider
always comes out.
he's gonna drop very good knowledge. Very
Okay. Give us your
but
background, bro. Talk to us about
yeah,
your training. Talk to us about your soccer, like when everything kind of started.
intro.
Been pretty into sports. So growing up, we played a lot of sports. It was never like organized, but like just at the park. You know what I mean? Basketball, baseball, football, whatever you name it. Like we're playing street hockey, running tournaments all the time. So pretty much always active, right? And then from there, I would say I probably started weightlifting around like 17, average age, usually, back then, 16, 17, started weightlifting, didn't really know what I was doing, kind of like bro science, right? Because I kind of figured it out.
Sure works.
Look at the bigger guys in the gym, kind of ask them for tips, work out with them, catch some workouts with them, you know what I mean? So I did a lot of stuff like that. A lot of things in hindsight, you look back and you're like, you know what, that probably didn't make sense, you know? But starting somewhere, sticking to it, and then like growing from that and like realizing what your mistakes are or what they aren't, you come a long way. You know what I mean? So I've been training for about like 12 years now, I would say. Right. So it's been a
Jeez.
while.
Jeez. Okay. And I know you said you played soccer. Um, was
So played
soccer
soccer for a long time. Played soccer for like I would say probably started at like 18 till
okay.
now. Right. So it's like been a while.
And the whole time in soccer, obviously you had like a coach and shit you worked with, people you surrounded yourself with.
Sometimes with the coach, most of the time just by myself, local park, local teams and stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
But here and there, in between, I did have a coach, and it was a good learning experience. You learn a lot. You learn that with a coach, you're gonna push yourself a lot more than you can alone.
okay.
So it's like something very obvious, all right? But say you're only gonna start appreciating that or appreciating a coach once you have a coach, especially in person training. You know what I mean? Because the coach doesn't care if you're hurting. You know what I mean? If you're out of breath, like you're there and you're paying them for a reason because you want to better
Yeah,
yourself. You know what I mean? So they're just gonna push you no matter what.
100%. Outside of like your training experience, like what else is your background? You don't dive too deep into other stuff, but like work wise or like schooling wise and shit like that, and like how does your lifestyle look like other things? Because obviously training is not your full-time thing, right? Ma-
No, for sure. Went to university, graduated in accounting, right? So typical basic stuff. Have a full time
Let's
job
go.
right now, amongst some other stuff, some side hustles and all those type of things. But
Yeah.
training has always been part of it. I would say I've been more consistent for the past like 5 years, where like I didn't stop, minus COVID, right? Everyone kind of got hit with that,
Yeah.
trying to do like the push ups and stuff like that. But 5 years about been pretty consistent, and with that consistency means like working out like 4 to 5 times a week, right? Being on a plan and also like tracking my calories. For me personally, I feel like tracking the calories was a game changer, right? For a lot of people, it may not be because that could just be their genetic pool is like really enhanced. You know what I mean? So it's like it allows them to hit the gym like 4 times a week, 5 times a week. They're doing random stuff. They go home to eat. They don't really care what they eat, and they're gonna see that difference. But for majority of people, I'm gonna say if you're tracking your calories and you're working out, you're gonna see a big difference. I mean, you're not gonna go from like being small to like Jay Cutler,
Yeah.
but you're gonna get juicy. You know what I mean?
100%. And like, yo,
Yeah,
you see the progress happen much more like it's already slow. So with that, at least you see it more expedient, right? Like you see the progress a
for
little bit
sure,
faster in whatever it
for
is,
sure,
gaining, losing, stuff
for
like that,
sure.
right?
It's just small things. Like for example, if you're doing a cut or if you're doing a bulk, it's small things of just track your weight. You don't do anything else to track your weight every single day. Same time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? First thing in the morning, every single day, track your weight. Write it down. And then at the end of the week, you want to be a Saturday or a Sunday or a Monday, whichever day you choose, just take the average.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And you're gonna see, okay, I'm bulking. And what's my average? Am I going up or am I going down? Like if I'm going down and I'm on a bulk, there's a problem, right? Or if I'm on a bulk and it's been like a month and a half and I gain like only 1 pound, that's also a problem. You're probably doing something wrong. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
And then that's where you're probably gonna be like, okay, you know what? I've been just shooting the shit, just eating whatever I want. I'm bulking, but I only gained a pound. So let me try to like track my nutrients, track my calories, and then it gets started. You know what I mean? So you start from somewhere, and then like you just keep on going up, and then you
yeah.
keep on like adding things. You know what I mean?
Did you find it challenging when you first started tracking in terms of being consistent with it? Like, have you ever found it annoying, like with everything else that's going on, or for you, it's just something where like, well, you started it and you started doing it?
In mind, I was like, I want to do this. I want to get cut. Right? Coach told me this is a plan. This is what you got to do. For me, I was like, it's game over from the start.
So
If I want to reach that goal, I'm gonna have to start doing that. Right?
Mhm.
It's a bit difficult at first in the term of like in the sense of like it's something new. So you're like, oh fuck, man, like I have to go get this ingredient, I have to go get that certain way. Not really. It's just in all in your head. Because once you start doing it, it becomes like second nature. Then you start doing it like you don't even think about it. You know what I mean? And you wouldn't have it any other way. So at first, yeah, it was kind of weird. But that was like for me, it was probably weird like for about a week. And then like every single time changes were made to the plan. Like for example, okay, like after a month and a half, okay, we're switching up your on days and your off days. Now we're doing two different things. Then I was like, oh fuck. You know what I mean? Like, okay, I'm gonna have to like think about my off days, I'm on days, but everything's there on for you on paper. So you don't really have to think about anything. It's just you trying to get yourself out of it because you don't want to work any harder, even though it's like probably like 0.005% harder. Right.
yeah,
And for a lot of people, for them, it's gonna be like take them some time, but you rather take you some time and then you get used to it than not do it at all. You know what I mean? Because again,
yeah,
if you're seeking help, most probably your genetics are not like crazy. Because if they were crazy, you wouldn't be seeking help to like reach a specific goal, like for example, lose weight. You know what I mean? If your genetics are really good, you're probably gonna be seeking help to be like, okay, I'm already jacked and now I want to take it to the next level. Sure, I understand that. But majority of people are seeking help because like they just want to know like a guideline, like an outline. What do I do? Just do it for me. Right. But you can't have that
yeah,
approach. Like you have to take some approach. You know what I mean? And be like, yeah, I want to do this. Just tell me what to do, and I'll do it. But a lot of people are like, you know what, like do it for me type of attitude, and I don't think that works.
yeah.
And
Because you
and,
don't
and
build
that's
any.
like towards
Yeah,
anything, right? It's like towards
yeah,
anything. It's not gonna work.
yeah. You don't build like those lifestyle habits, right? Because if you don't actually know why you're doing certain actions, you're not going to be intentional with it after the fact. So you finish the cut, like you don't actually know what you did, or you don't have those habits built up, right? It didn't really
Exactly.
accumulate.
You're
I
just there and you're just doing it, and it's like I've seen a
Yeah,
lot of coaches where like they're training people and they're the one who are who's moving the weight. It's like,
Interesting.
okay, let me load everything for you. Let me unrack everything for you.
Yeah.
Like you just go from one exercise to another, but it's like, you understand? Like you're really being like coddled.
Babysitting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it doesn't make sense. It's like, okay, if you're in the gym, you should at least attack everything yourself and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do it myself. But you're
Yeah.
just here to like kind of like overview everything and look at it. Okay, am I doing this wrong? Like, how's my execution or how's my intensity?
Yeah.
Right? That's what you're paying them for. You're not paying them for to move your weight. Like, come on.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit of like so I think because you have a sports background, for
Yeah,
you when you have like, okay, I have a game plan and I want to do this, you're just gonna stick to it. You're gonna do it, right?
for
You're gonna
sure.
follow the game plan. But like a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, yo, this guy just has a soccer background. Like he's been athletic all his life. He's been training for 12 years now, right? So like if someone has a plan in front of him, it's easy for him to say right now, after the 12 years, obviously, to be like, oh, I can just stick to a plan and I'll just do it, right? That's too far-fetched. You know what? Like maybe I'll just ease into it this year and ease
Got
into it
you.
next year.
Yeah, yeah,
Everyone's gonna, some people are
for
gonna say
sure.
that, right?
For
So
sure,
for
for
that
sure.
person that's thinking that, what would you say to them if they're trying to like say like they're trying to get jacked or trying to get lean, whatever physique they're trying to attain? What should their starting point be per se?
Depends on how dedicated you are, man. Like, it's easy to say someone has it nice, right? But then, like, you also don't know the, their injury background, for example. And I feel like there's a lot of people that haven't had any injuries and they're still so lazy. Whereas, like me personally, I went through an ACL surgery. So that's a pretty big surgery. And coming back from that, like you're starting from like zero. Like I'm going from like squatting like two plates and a bit to like squatting with like a band. You know what I mean? Like I need assistance. Like everything drops to zero. And that's like going on for about like probably took me about a full year to get my range of motion back and then to get my strength back. And the strength aspect, even a little bit more than a year. People are gonna be like, oh, that's stretched or this and that, but like that's the truth. You know what I mean? And like you start from
Yeah,
like literally zero. And if you can't really, and if you have no movement in your leg, you can't really do other exercises because you can't balance at
yeah,
all. And like now you're like mentally, you're like, you know what? Every smaller movement that happens, you're like, yo, fuck, like, did I re-injure myself?
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like mentally and physically, it's really draining. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, it isn't easy, but you could just start somewhere. So you don't really have
yeah,
to have an athletic background, I would say. You just want to make yourself a goal. So for example, you want to lose weight, you've never been to the gym before, simple. And you're scared of the gym, it's intimidating, I get it. You know what I mean? But okay, tell yourself I'm gonna go like 4 times a week and I'm
yeah.
gonna go for like 15 minutes. Just go
That's
for
it.
15 minutes. Just go inside, do random shit.
Yeah,
And like 3, 4 exercises, leave. Then same thing for 4 times a week, 15 minutes. That's nothing.
yeah,
That's 1 hour in a week.
yeah,
That's nothing. From there, it's gonna get you interested. You're gonna get like it's gonna spark something. You're like, you know what? Okay, I'm doing 4 exercises now in 15 minutes, 2, 3 sets each, whatever it is. I'm fucking around doing some machines, messing around with some free weight. You know what I mean? Sooner or later,
yeah,
you're gonna be like, hey, yo, let me get a bit more structured. I'm gonna get jacked and I want to lose weight and I want to lose it in like 8 weeks and you've never done anything before. If you take it a little bit by little bit, let's say if you mess around for about like 2 months. For
yeah,
2 months, for 2 months, you're doing the whole 4 times a week for 15 minutes for 2 months.
yeah, yeah,
Third month, you're like, let me get structured, push it to like 45 minutes.
yeah,
Now you do 2, 3 months for like 45 minutes. You know what I mean? Maybe 4 months. Who knows? Still just like whatever exercise. You don't really know what you're doing. You're doing chest, you're doing back, you're doing triceps, you're doing calves on the same day. You know what I mean? Like you don't really know what you're doing. Now you're gonna be like, okay, yo, like you're gonna start talking to people. It's a community. The gym is a community. You're gonna start talking to people, and you more or less, a lot of people are there to help you out. You know what I mean? So you start talking to a lot of people. You'd be like, yo, bro, like, why are you doing this exercise? Oh, hey, could you check out if is my form good? Like, I was watching you do this exercise, and I'm trying to do it as well, but I feel like I'm not good. The guy's gonna say, for sure, he's gonna be like, yeah, I'll shoot you a spot. Let me check your form. No problem. You know what I mean? So slowly but surely, you're gonna get to a point where you'll most probably be on a plan, whether you made it yourself or a coach made it for you, right? And you're most probably gonna hit your goal. Why? Because you're doing something.
You kept moving. Yeah.
You kept the momentum going. And if
I
you
think,
stop, then
yeah.
you're gonna fall off.
I think where like the gap comes in though, like I know exactly what you're saying, and like this is something in the training world we preach all the time, right? So you just start like atomic habits, like start baby step, just like show up to the gym, just start, start, start. The gap is the person can't see that 8 month image that you're talking about when they start, right? They can't see themselves being like, okay, in 4 months I'm gonna ask for more structure because I like see the gain so much. I don't see the benefit of like consistent, right? And I get it, like that's how it actually works. And if you reflect on any other area of life, that's exactly how that part works too. It's like you start, you do a little bit, it compounds, 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 and then eventually you just become somebody who just does that shit, right? But it's the gap, I think, usually tends to be like, I don't see the reward. Like, what's the point? Like, I'm not jacked yet. Like,
Funny enough, you guys could probably relate to this. You guys have been training for a minute now.
Yeah,
How many times do I come to you and I'm always like, yo, bro, I don't see a difference.
I know. So this is actually a great point. So what makes you be like stay consistent? Like I know it's a really vague question. I gotta frame it a better way, but like without seeing like okay, like I'm not there where I want to be at, right? What makes you still be so consistent, even if like say for example we do this full time, and like yeah, I know you love training and you make sick gains, but what makes you just be like I'm just gonna keep sticking to this. I'm just gonna keep sticking to this. Like what's that thing?
Hey,
Any
man.
yeah,
Like, just overall, I'd say exercising for anyone is gonna like make you a better person in terms
for
of
you.
a healthier person. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
You might not see gains per se, but like for example, like just exercising in general will probably like stabilize like your insulin level. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Amongst like other things. For me, what keeps me going, it's like I have a certain vision and I want to like reach that vision, but at the same time, instead of like running after like cheap dopamine,
yeah,
it's a go and get good dopamine by exercising, and that's also like time to yourself. Because otherwise, let's say I spend like an hour and a half, 2 hours at the gym. Most people are just gonna spend that time sitting at home, maybe watching TV or like scrolling on like TikTok.
yeah.
Where you could easily just go do that. A lot of people, mind you, a lot of people are active. I have a lot of friends that don't go to the gym, but they're active, right? They like biking, they like walking, they like jogging, they like boxing, but that's still a form of exercise, right? So that's what a lot of people need to understand. They're still exercising, right?
Yeah.
For me personally, I like those activities. I indulge in them as well, but my main focus is the gym. Why? Because I'm kind of like I want a certain frame, and I want to reach that frame slowly but surely. And I also don't want to be that person that's like 40 years old but feels like they're like 60 because like your joints are hurting, your knees are hurting, or like it's scientifically proven. I was reading a study just the other day, and I was saying like after 30, for males and females, for males it's a bit faster. You start losing muscle, right? And it's like a certain percentage per year. And if you don't work out whatsoever, that's just going to be the gap between you and the person that exercises is just going to be huge by the time like you hit 50, right? And then those are the people that usually have issues like getting upstairs, getting up off a chair, you know what I mean? Like all those type of things. Because why? Like your muscles are just shrinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So use it or lose it, man. That's what I usually say.
So this is your reason now, like why, right? You're staying consistent. What was it maybe like 10 years ago? When you were maybe 17, 18. Do you remember?
Oh,
Give me that, give
17,
me the
18.
sauce, bro.
17, 18, man. 17, 18 was the era when you're growing up watching WWE, WWF, man. You see these guys are jacked.
Yeah.
Some Bollywood movies, you know what I mean? You can see these guys are freaking jacked, man. And you're like,
Hrithik
yo,
Roshan. Yeah.
100%, you know, you had John Abraham, you had all those guys, and you're like, yo, whoa, what are these guys on? And at the beginning, you're gonna be like, you know what? Like I said, it comes back to your genetic pool. Some guys have athletic bodies, they're into sports, and they're just naturally ripped.
Okay. Yeah.
They have low body fat from a young age, and it's gonna carry forward with them up until like life really hits them, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I was the opposite. I didn't have that. So I was always like chubbier to say, or like skinny fat, as Cags likes to say. So we are skinny fat. We're cursed with the skinny fat curse,
Yeah.
right? So it's like skinny fat for a long time. And I was like, you know what? Like, fuck, man. Like, I have a lot of buddies that don't even train, or they train like way less intensity than me, but these guys, their physique is like crazy. So instead of that, I was like, I did that for a while. Comparison, I was like, fucking hell, that doesn't make sense. Discourages you. But then put like I have an action plan. So then my action plan was, you know what? Everyone's body's different. They don't need to track their calories. They don't need to work out as hard. They're already blessed with that. Well, I'm gonna do that because if I want to get to that level, I'm gonna have to implement these things. And for me, I was like, okay, I'm gonna implement it. I want to have abs. That's usually what people want at a young age. Like, you know what, guys, especially like, yo, rip abs, man,
Yeah.
right? Rip abs, and it worked.
100%.
You know what I mean? If you follow it, it works.
Yeah.
And then you're just gonna get better from that. Then you're gonna be like, you know what? Then you start maturing in the gym. First, you're
Yeah.
gonna be like, you know what? I want abs. Okay, you got your goal. Now you're gonna rip that for a while. You're gonna keep that physique, and then you're gonna start to understand. Now, if I want to grow, I can't grow at these amount of calories. If I'm sitting at like 1,700 calories to
Yeah.
maintain this physique, sure, I'm working out, sure, I'm pushing weight, but I can't grow my muscle. The muscle maturity is not going to come. The muscle maturity comes when you're on a bulk. You know what I mean? For me, that's what I feel like. At
Yeah.
least that's where I've got to the point. And maybe I'll learn more. But for me, it's like muscle maturity is going to come once like you're really, really pushing your muscle with heavy weight with a good form, and you're letting that sit on your body. As like our previous conversation, one of them as well. That was pretty much it. Gain as much muscle as you can, let it sit on your body. That doesn't mean gain as much weight as you can. Those are two different things, right? So it's like a lot of people are like chasing like a certain number, but they chase a certain form and a physique. Okay, I want to look this way. And if I look that way at like 200, sure. If I look that way at 215, then so be it. Then I'm gonna be 215, right? Don't just chase. A lot of people when they bulk is like they're like, for example, 175, and they're gonna be like, okay, I want to hit 205. Like they already
Yeah.
have that in their head, and now they're doing a dirty bulk and they're doing all this and they're doing that. But if you look at my before pictures, like before my bulk and after my bulk, there's a little bit of fluff. That's part of
Yeah.
the game.
Yeah.
But more or less, it's kind of the same shape,
Same shape. Yeah.
more or less. And I was like, for the longest time, last time I did a bulk, which was a couple of years ago, I was like, a few years ago, that bulk, whatever I had in my cut, I kind of lost it. Even though that was a clean bulk, it was pretty clean. And I still lost it in terms of I didn't have like ab shape. A lot of other muscles weren't showing as much. The clarity wasn't there. This time around, so whether you call it muscle maturity or whatever you want to call it,
Trying
because
to
I've
get
been doing
jacked.
right, trying to get jacked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This time around, I'm sitting at probably like 30 pounds more
Yeah.
heavier,
Yeah.
30 pounds heavier, but I still see some form of abs, which is a lot of weight,
Yeah.
right? So it's like your body definitely adapts to what you're doing. And at a certain point, you most probably won't have to do like a crazy cut like that in order to go and get cut. Like ripped abs, nice arms, look jacked. You know what I mean? So it's
100%.
like I feel like the more you do it, the more you're gonna learn like the science behind it and also the science behind your own body because everyone's body's different. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
you'll probably make certain changes that are just specific to you and they're gonna work for you. That doesn't mean they'll work for someone else, right? So
Yeah. And bro, like over time, your body, as you build more muscle, the same amount of body fat looks different too, right? On the same body, because now
exactly,
the
exactly,
muscle, like the body fat spreads over more surface area,
for
whatever you
sure,
want to call it. So you distribute
for
fat
sure.
better, right? One one thing I want to kind of go back to, you were saying ab chasing, right? And like that was the first goal, maybe. Not saying for you in general, if it's for somebody. And I think sometimes people overthink this, and like I've had like calls. I'm sure you have kegs too, and you'll have some in the future too. They be like, "Yo, like I just want like this kind of build, but I don't want to get like too jacked, or I don't want like abs or anything. Like I don't really care, right? I just want like a flat stomach, and I just want to get a little bit toned, right?" And I find chase abs. Like yo, even if your motivation is like yo, chase like girls, like whatever it is, chase that Lamborghini, chase it. Because even if you get 60, 70% of that, you end up developing pretty good habits along the way. And then eventually, when you get to that point, you realize, okay, it's actually more about longevity. I don't want to be in pain when I'm 40, 45, 50, because you see those people as you stay in it longer, right? But initially, I think some people overthink even like their why. So yo, just make your why. Like I just want to fuck a six pack for Cancun, and I want to like talk to like girls with more confidence. Like that literally could be the sick
For
motivation.
sure,
You know what
for
I'm
sure.
saying? And like that could kickstart a lot of things, a lot of habits.
It could kickstart so much. Just if you just want to chase abs, chase abs. Let's just say,
Bro,
let's say that
100%.
chase
Yeah.
abs, and you're gonna see from that once you get the mind muscle connection with your abs. Right now, I'm going into like a little bit more details. Once you get the mind muscle connection with your abs, you're gonna feel a lot more stable doing so many different exercises,
There you go.
and then that's gonna be like it's probably gonna spark you. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Just because I have a mind muscle connection with my abs, and I'm a lot more stable, and I feel them doing certain push movements or even pull movements, right? Because they're contracting a lot better. Imagine now if I focus on each single muscle that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's always like something's always gonna keep on coming. You're always gonna want a little bit more,
Yeah.
and you always like keep on learning. So I
Yeah.
feel like you start somewhere, man. And like for a lot of people that want to get bigger, and they're like, you know what, bro? Like I'm eating 3,000 calories, I'm eating 3,500 calories. It's just not hitting me. But it's like, yo, keep on doing it for a long enough time that your body actually adapts to it. Because at the beginning, you might be an athletic guy, and your body might be like, yo, this guy's fucking crazy. This guy's feeding me so much, and it's just gonna be burning it. Because there's different ways of burning your energy as well. You know, you have your neat. It's like
Yeah.
so you have your neat way of burning energy, or you have your way of like going to the exercising at the gym, like consciously making an effort,
Yeah.
right? So your body just may be that good at it that it's just burning like crazy amount of fucking energy no matter how much you're eating. Because like you're also like 21 years old or 20 years old or 22, whatever it is. But if you
Yeah.
do it for a long enough period, your body will change to that and it'll adapt to that. And slowly that food will start hitting you where meaning that you'll start like gaining weight and gaining size,
Yeah.
right? So it's a and vice versa. If you want to lose weight, you might be not be losing weight. You might like, okay, let me cut my calories and I'm gonna lose weight. It doesn't always work that way, right?
Yeah.
Your body might just be like, this guy's fucked up,
Yeah.
taking food away from me. Not let me start storing this food more
Yeah.
on the side as fats because I don't want to let go of it because who the fuck knows when I'm gonna get more food. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But then if you keep on doing it for a long enough period, and I've seen it with myself, sometimes I'm on a cut, we lower my calories, like I'm doing good, and we lower my calories a little bit more, and I'm not losing weight. It'll be like for 2 weeks, nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe I even gained like a pound or two.
Yeah.
And then I give myself a little bit more food,
Yeah.
body starts to go down again.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
Right.
Yeah. I'm sure Cax could attest to this all the time. Like, sometimes doing too low of calories, and you're doing a cut right now. So like going, because you're starting at a pretty good amount of calories. You're not doing it too aggressively, right?
So like 2,300 calories, which is pretty high.
It's
I
pretty
was
high.
I was at 25.
1 3.
I was like, let me just have it be a little bit more aggressive. 23. My activity levels are through the roof. Like I'm averaging 12,000 steps a day. I'm doing cardio multiple times a week. So like I think that's where I'm gonna try and get most of the bang for my buck for. But like I remember when we cut the first time, not the first time, but like one of the times we did like
Yeah.
some super aggressive cut.
Yeah.
Down to like 1,400 calories, and there's like
Yeah.
a day. And like, yo, first 6 weeks, fire, bro. I think I dropped like 15 pounds the first 6 weeks. After
Crazy.
that, it felt like I got fucking punched every day.
Yeah.
Easy. I was tired. I was so hungry, and the scale was not moving for like what, like maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Not moving at all. And I just felt
Yeah.
like death. I'm like, bro, at least before the scale was going down, things were looking better. And then I got to a point where I was doing all this stuff and nothing was happening. And I was like, oh shit, something is not right here, right? So like
Yeah.
now where it's like, you can obviously push your body to a certain level, but like after a certain amount of time, your body just like, fuck you, like can't be doing this anymore, and then you have to go back the other way. So
You gotta listen to your body, man.
for sure,
Yeah.
but, like there's
Can't do certain stuff, then you know what I
everyone
mean?
feels different, right? Like I might have been able to do that for 6 weeks. I mean, you might be able to do that for 8 or 10 weeks before you feel anything. Someone else, they might do it 2 weeks and they're like, oh shit, like it stopped working.
Yeah.
So like everyone like has a different response to it. And that's where it's like you guys said, being really in tune with your body and understanding. As you go through this process over and over, you're gonna learn new things about how you respond. Whether that's just the calories or like the food in general, like yo, you're gonna realize, oh, if I eat this food, I'm gonna feel a lot better, even if it's the same amount of calories too, right? So
For
getting
sure.
to pay attention to things like that, I think also helps with consistency because people are like, oh, just focus on the scale. It's like, yo, when I swap my food and I start eating this, oh my God, I have a lot more energy, right? It's like, well, I didn't have this before. I just felt like lethargic all the time. But it's like, I think going back to like consistency, it's like, yo, gym is cool, scale is cool, but how are you feeling? How are clothes feeling? Like, how much energy do you have? Are you doing things that you weren't able to do like 2, 3 weeks
For
ago?
sure. For sure. But I feel like, you know what, before getting to a certain point and before like, because a lot of people, like when I speak to a lot of people, even my friends of mine, and they'll be like, yo, like I wanna do a cut and like I wanna get on like a program, like a diet plan or whatever it is. And the first question will be like, am I allowed cheat meals? Right? And
Okay.
that's the first question, but it's like, yo, you're already working against yourself because like if you're already focused on having cheat meals, you know what I mean? You don't have the right mindset. So it's like before asking that question, how about you just have some discipline and you hop onto this and then you work at it long enough and now you get to a certain point and to a certain standard where you've earned your cheat meals, right? So kind of just like
Yeah.
stay disciplined for a certain amount of time. I know that
Yeah.
won't work for a lot of people, or a lot of people like they're like, you know what, bro, that's too much. Like I can't go cold turkey. That's fine as well,
Yeah.
but try not to focus so much on the cheat meals and try to be like, you know what, I'm gonna try to like stay on track as much as possible because those cheat meals are gonna happen no matter what.
Yeah.
So if you're already
100%.
focusing on the cheat meal and you're like, you know what, I need to have one a week, you're most probably gonna have two or three
Yeah.
days that you
Especially if you're
can't
starting
control,
out. Yeah.
right? And there's gonna be certain days that you can't control. You're
Yeah.
out, something happened, whatever. You're at school, you're at work, or some sort of event. You're gonna end up eating out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everyone has a busy life. But if it's like you're like, you know what? No, I'm gonna like stick to it for sure. I'll have the most amount like of gains and bang for your buck. Because it will
Yeah.
still happen. Those cheat meals will still happen and they're good for the soul. You need to do it. Otherwise, like you could be like, you know what? I don't like this anymore. It's way too much. Kags, I know he loves his protein bars and you know what I mean, his drinks. But you have to have a balance, man. You have to have a balance.
Yeah. No, it's true, bro. You gotta come from a mindset of like you shouldn't be looking forward to that cheat meal every week because you don't want to live like that. That means like you're just like because that means your whole week is a chore. Like all the meals, all the training, everything's a chore. Like if you can't live like that, you're gonna eventually break. Be like, yo, fuck this shit. I'm not gonna train. I'm just gonna eat whatever. But you gotta be in a mindset of like, yeah, I'm doing this as like again, this goes to what Kags was mentioning too, at the low calories, instead of focusing on just the scale, feeling, all that stuff, it goes to like why are you doing whatever you're doing, right? If like if you're at a point where you feel like shit all the time, it's like, yo, I started this so I feel healthy and strong, but I feel like ass all the time. So why are you forcing it? Like go to a point where you actually feel good, and that's gonna be more sustainable for you long term, right? So like it's literally just critical thinking, right? It's like, yo, like think why, and then why are you wanting this meal? It's controlling you. Get to a point where it doesn't control you anymore. Now come back to it, integrate it. Like, Kags integrates it. He's going right now too. That's what he's trying to get off right now. He's like, yo, I gotta fucking munch.
Gotta go munch my Laziz, bro, on the rock, half and half. It's waiting for me.
That's waiting, bro.
Just like,
Yo,
yo, that's part of the diet. I don't look at that as a cheap, like when you say cheat meal, it's like, yo, like, yes, it's going off plan, but bro, all I ate today was like 500 calories. I have 1,700 calories to spare.
When you get to that point where like you're able to like measure that, and that's what a lot of people probably like struggle
Don't,
with,
don't
is like
do
they need to learn how to measure that, right? Because we're not saying it's not right and you can't do this, but
100%.
you just don't know how to measure your food,
yeah,
Yeah,
right? And you don't know how to calculate your food. So for someone that doesn't know how to calculate their food, it's better that you just stick to a plan, right? Up until you
Yeah.
get comfortable enough and you're like, okay, you know what? Today's a Saturday. I'm going out tonight. I'm gonna go out with the boys, get a little bit rowdy. So let me save certain meals, skip out on certain meals. You know what I mean? Save up on certain carbs because I know I'm going to be eating afterwards. So maybe I'll focus a little bit more on protein or whatever it is. I'll save some carbs and I'll save some protein for night as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, 100%.
That way you're kind of in your caloric range. So you might not be hitting every single nutritional aspect, like this amount of protein and this amount of carbs and fat, but you're still within your caloric range. So you're not gonna like go away from like your progress too much, or even on the scale. You're not gonna go away too much. And like don't worry about the scale because again, first thing we talked about in this call was it's a weekly average either way. So you
Yeah.
may be because you may go out on Saturday, so that means Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the weight's showing a lot significantly higher, maybe 3 pounds, maybe 4 pounds. Who knows? Everyone's different. By the end of that week, you're most probably going to come down to what you were before, right?
Yeah.
And that's if you're doing everything else correctly. If you're not, then obviously it's just like a trickling effect, and it's going to keep on going higher. But if you're doing everything else correctly, then for sure it's an averaging game. Overall, you're still going to see the same results, but certain people might see them quicker just because they stick to the plan for a longer period
Yeah.
of time and they're a little bit more strict.
Yeah. And this is coming from your hindsight of like doing it for so long, right? A lot of people wouldn't like be able to, they'll stress out over that one day, the 3 pound, 4 pound gain, right? And they'd be like, ah, shit, I'm gonna go backwards. I'm just gonna F it today. I'm just gonna cheat it again, or I'm gonna skip my workout, whatever it is. But you're talking from experience and someone's listening. Yeah,
And then you go on a binge. And it's
for
okay to go
sure.
on binges. That's totally fine. But it's like you control how long that binge is. Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
is that binge for a day or is it for like 3 months?
yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree.
Like they end up eating one sweet on like a
Yeah,
Monday or whatever, a Saturday evening.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then now they tasted that and they're like, fuck, like it happens Sunday again, then it's gonna happen Monday, then it's gonna happen on the Wednesday, then it's gonna happen on the Friday, and it's gonna keep on happening. It might happen for like a whole month and a half, 2 months, without them
100%.
realizing, right?
Yeah,
And then it's like, fuck, like I gained so much weight,
yeah.
or like I look like rounder, but why? I was only having like five
Just
cookies
one
a
piece.
day,
Yeah,
like
a small
you know,
piece.
but it adds up.
Yo, so this is one question I want to definitely get out of you before we dip. So how do you integrate fitness or like get lifting? I know how you do it, but you tell the people into your own life when you have like this is not your entire life. Like ours is like we do full-time training and like obviously we still do other things as well, but like majority of it's revolved around training, right? And I'm sure you revolve your shit around training and meals too. But like you obviously work full-time, relationships, family business, a lot of other things going on at the same time. So how do you integrate it and stay so on point even when like maybe things are not aligned? Like, there's so many other life things happening.
So set your priorities.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, let's say if you know you're gonna have a really crazy rowdy weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have like a crazy wedding coming up, and you're busy all 3 days. So just get your workouts in Monday to Thursday, right on the weekend. You know what I mean? Just get them in on Monday to Thursday. You got your 4 days in, and in those days you're chilling. And then during those days, you already know what's on your program on what you want to eat, like what you should be eating, how much protein, carbs. So now when you go to these places, just be mindful of what you're eating.
Yeah.
Instead of like reaching for all like the fatty stuff first, reach for the protein and a little bit of fatty stuff. So you enjoy yourself, but at the same time, you're not going overboard. You know what I mean? So overall, I would feel like it's just be mindful. If you know you're going to be busy in the future, kind of try to like do everything before that because a lot of people they kind of overestimate what they could do, right? You know what? It's okay. Like I'm busy on the weekend, but I'm sure I'll get my workout in on Saturday, even though I have like two events.
Yeah. That's true.
That doesn't end up happening, right? And then
Yeah.
afterwards they'll be like, oh, okay, fine, I'll get it on Sunday. But then Sunday that doesn't end up happening either because you're too tired, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, but if you did it from Monday to Thursday, then you don't have to worry about it. You already got it in, you don't have to feel bad. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And then I feel like whenever you speak to someone, even if it's like for business, it's not just for working out. If it's for business, if it's for school, whatever it's for, it's just general in life. People overestimate what they could do in a short period of time, and then they underestimate what they could do in a long period of time.
Clip that. We'll clip that. Oh,
People are
shit.
gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna become like a millionaire in
Yeah.
like the next year. But I don't know if that's possible. But then 5 years to them seems a bit too long because they don't want to think about the 5 years. It's too long,
100%.
right? And they're gonna underestimate what they could do in 5 years. And they're gonna shoot for the stars for that 1 year, which you definitely should shoot for the stars. But when you overestimate what you could do in 1 year, and that year comes up, now you're like, fuck, I had like 5 goals, and out of 5 goals, I did like one. There's a high chance you might fall off the wagon and you'd be like, you know what? Like, it's not for me. I'm gonna try something else. That's why a lot of people like jump ship really quick, right? Because they're overestimating. Whereas
Yeah.
if you just give yourself a certain period of time, you'll most probably reach that goal. Because a lot of the people that you see at the gym, a lot of them, they've been training for a long time. We're not talking about the people that are genetically blessed. We're talking about the average person. They've been training for a while. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they've been switching through things, going through bro science to like actual science to like different stuff. They've been trying different things. You know what I mean? Different types,
100%.
different types of splits, whatever it is. Most of them probably went like bodybuilding to powerlifting, back to hypertrophy, back and forth, up until they found like what works for them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And now it's next thing you know, it's been like 8 years, 9 years, or 10 years that they're working out, and then now they finally know what works, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it. So if
Takes
you
a
just
minute.
100%, man,
Yeah.
100% for
No, man,
sure.
that's why it helps to have perspective, right? Like we can say it, right? We say it takes time. Like I've been doing it for a minute, Kag's been doing it for a minute, but then you saying it, you've been doing it for a minute too. It's like it's not something new, right? It's like you gotta prioritize it, and then you gotta just make sure you make an action plan, and then you stick to it for long enough. Like it's like the basic principles, we have to do it for long enough, right? Like I would almost say like it's easy, but it's just like hard executing for long enough, right? Like if you think about it, like the thing you said, it's like
It's for sure. There's
yeah.
nothing. There's no like complicated aspect behind it that like one person can do it and the other person can't do it, unless if you have like some sort of like injury that like really, really like prevents you from like working out and stuff.
100%.
But otherwise, it's the same thing. It's like when you go to like university, man. Like you've been through
Yeah.
university. Like everyone's been through like some sort of schooling. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If on day one the teacher says you'll rip this like final exam, I think 99% of the class is like failing. That might be that one person that like maybe like redoing that fucking class. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Otherwise, everyone's failing. But
Unless it's
slowly,
open book, yeah. Just
open
kidding.
book, sure. Even I mean, if you want to rip open book, but still, I don't think people are gonna pass that. You know what I
I'm
mean?
just
Because
kidding.
they
Yeah.
won't be in that mindset. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I
But
agree.
slowly, as that semester progresses, now you've gained knowledge and you've practiced it. You got your reps in, and you're gonna be able to like pass that final exam. Whereas a lot of people like they come to the gym and they don't know what they're doing and they get discouraged because they see like these guys fucking ripping like the 100 pound dumbbells and stuff like that, like crazy shit. But
100%.
you don't have to necessarily do that in order to get to where you want to go,
That's it.
right?
I agree. Yeah.
It's fun, cool, but you could probably get to your physique like lifting half the amount of that like these guys are lifting, these bigger guys. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah. We just do it for long enough.
Mhm.
But yeah, bro.
Like, yo, bro, I have like let's say for example right now what it's November 15th. Like, yo, bro, I got a trip to Dominican Republic December 15th and I want to have like six pack abs. Is it
Yeah.
possible? And the guy's like never trained before.
Yeah.
You know, it's not gonna work.
If you pay for my 6 month package. Just kidding. I don't know. In full. Okay. Now, bro, yo, see, this is why it's sick. Have different perspective, right? You just drop so much knowledge, so much wisdom, right? So it's wicked. But any other last things you would add to like anything getting Jack related and like, what does getting Jack mean to you? Whatever, like any other things you want to add in before we end it off?
I'd say to start somewhere, man. To start somewhere. And
Yeah.
like a lot of people are gonna be like so expensive. But it's like, yo, you're spending like $50 to $60 on a dinner if you just go out any random place. So other
Yeah.
things are not cheap necessarily. And this is like your health.
Yeah.
Invest in yourself a little bit, you're for sure you're gonna see results, man. And it's not as hard as you think it is. It's a different environment, so it's something new. So you're scared to tackle that by themselves, and other people are gonna need coaching. I strongly advise that if you get a coach, the earlier you get a coach, the better it is for you because everything's gonna be structured and you're gonna learn a lot more. You know, some people they might not benefit from a coach because they're gonna be like, you know what, right away, because they want to build on their own. And then
100%.
once they've hit a certain limit, yeah, I can't like surpass this now. Okay, I'm gonna hop onto a coaching sesh. Now you're gonna help me pass this, right?
Yeah.
So sure. But either way you cut it, if you get a coach, it's gonna help you out for sure, man. Like for example, like you, like people think like, okay, you're a coach, Kags is a coach. Like you guys have coaches as well.
100%.
See yourself, but that's not true. You guys have someone that's keeping you accountable for your actions, right? It's just you guys that are better because why you're doing it full time, right? But
Yeah.
anyone could really do it because like even if you're going to a wedding, you could bring your own food. Extreme like that. If you don't want to be extreme, then okay, small tips. Just ask your coach right away. You don't know yourself? Okay, cool. I mean, there's Google. If you don't want to trust Google, so much fucking information on that. Even YouTube contradicting information. Okay, hit up your coach. Your coach.
Yeah.
This weekend, I have 2 weddings. I have 4 events or 3 events.
Yeah.
Good.
That's it.
Yo, bro, okay. What kind of weddings are there? Punjabi? Okay, we know it's buffet style. Focus on this, and this. It's always the same shit. It's always the same shit. So when you figure it out once, no
Yeah.
matter where you go, which Punjabi wedding you go to, it's gonna be the same shit.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Gang.
Fire.
If you don't want a coach, you can join the Trying to Get Jack community. That's where Aman's gonna keep dropping knowledge on you guys.
Trying to get Jack, let's go.
Trying to get Jack. No, man, appreciate you, bro. This is why like it's important to have this, just because like different perspective, knowledge, and then coming from experience, right? That's the major thing. It's like you're talking from doing it for so long. So appreciate you coming on, man.
People, come on, join the train. Hop on.
Or just at least subscribe to the podcast, comment below.
Subscribe,
share the
man.
podcast.
Subscribe.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Catch you guys in the next one. All right, easy. Bye.